The cold wind swept through the streets of Grantham, a small town in England, as a young girl arranged groceries on the shelves of her father's shop. Her name was Margaret Roberts. To most people, she looked like an ordinary shopkeeper's daughter. Nobody could have imagined that one day she would become one of the most powerful women in the world. Margaret was different from other children. While many spent their evenings playing games, she spent hers reading books and listening carefully to conversations between her father and local townspeople. Her father believed in hard work, responsibility, and serving the community. Those values became deeply rooted in Margaret's mind. As she grew older, Margaret developed an insatiable hunger for knowledge. She excelled in school and dreamed of achieving something extraordinary. The journey was not easy. Her family was not wealthy, and opportunities for women were limited during those days. But Margaret believed that determination could overcome any obstacle. Through relentless effort, she earned a place at Oxford University. For a young girl from a small-town grocery shop, Oxford felt like another world. The university was filled with brilliant minds, intense debates, and endless opportunities. Margaret studied chemistry, but she soon found herself increasingly drawn toward politics. She loved discussing ideas, solving problems, and imagining ways to improve society. After graduation, Margaret worked as a chemist and later trained as a lawyer. Yet politics continued calling her. She joined the Conservative Party and began attending meetings, delivering speeches, and meeting voters. Many people underestimated her because she was a woman. Some openly mocked her ambitions. Others believed politics was no place for women. Margaret refused to be discouraged. Each criticism only strengthened her determination. She worked harder than ever, studying policies, understanding economics, and learning how government decisions affected ordinary people. Years later, she won a seat in Parliament. Standing in the historic chamber for the first time, she knew she had crossed an important milestone. Yet she wanted more than personal success. She wanted to lead. The political landscape of Britain was changing. Economic troubles were mounting. Inflation was rising. Factories struggled. Unemployment worried families across the nation. Many people felt uncertain about the future. Margaret believed Britain needed bold leadership. Her speeches became sharper, more confident, and increasingly influential. She challenged established ideas and proposed new approaches. Supporters admired her courage. Critics called her stubborn. But no one ignored her. In 1975, she achieved something historic. She became leader of the Conservative Party, the first woman ever to lead a major British political party. The road ahead was filled with challenges. Newspapers questioned whether a woman could handle the pressures of national leadership. Political opponents attacked her relentlessly. Yet Margaret stood firm. 4 years later, Britain held a general election. The results changed history. Margaret Thatcher became the first female Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. As she entered 10 Downing Street, cameras flashed and crowds gathered outside. Around the world, people watched with fascination. A woman had broken one of the highest political barriers in the world. But the celebration did not last long. The problems facing Britain were enormous. Margaret believed difficult times required difficult decisions. She introduced sweeping economic reforms designed to reduce inflation and revive the economy. Government-owned industries were sold to private companies. Public spending was reduced. Economic policies changed dramatically. These decisions generated intense debate. Some business owners welcomed the reforms. Investors praised her determination. Supporters argued that Britain was becoming stronger and more competitive. Others saw a different reality. Factories closed. Jobs disappeared. Entire communities struggled. Protesters marched through the streets carrying banners and demanding change. Margaret listened to criticism but rarely changed direction. She believed leadership required conviction. She often said that following the crowd was not leadership. As years passed, her reputation grew stronger. So did the controversies surrounding her. Then came one of the greatest tests of her leadership. In 1982, Argentina seized the Falkland Islands, a British territory thousands of miles away. The crisis shocked the nation. Britain faced a difficult choice. Margaret acted quickly. She ordered a military task force to sail across the ocean. The world watched anxiously. Weeks of conflict followed. Families worried for soldiers serving far from home. News reports dominated television screens. The future remained uncertain. Eventually, British forces regained control of the islands. The victory transformed Margaret's image. Supporters praised her courage and decisiveness. Her popularity surged. Newspapers increasingly referred to her as the Iron Lady, a nickname that perfectly captured her reputation for strength and determination. Throughout the 1980s, Margaret became one of the most recognizable political figures on Earth. She developed close relationships with world leaders and played an important role during the final years of the Cold War. Her meetings with international leaders attracted global attention. Yet, despite her influence abroad, divisions at home continued. Many admired her. Many opposed her. Families argued about her policies around dinner tables. Newspapers published fierce debates. Political cartoons appeared daily. Margaret seemed unaffected. She believed that if a leader tried to please everyone, nothing meaningful would ever be accomplished. As time passed, however, opposition began growing even within her own party. A controversial tax policy angered millions of citizens. Large protests erupted. Political allies started questioning her leadership. For the first time in many years, Margaret faced serious challenges from within her own ranks. The pressure intensified. Meetings became more difficult. Support weakened. Rivals sensed an opportunity. Finally, after more than 11 years as Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher announced her resignation. The moment was emotional. Some supporters cried. Some opponents celebrated. Many simply reflected on the extraordinary era that was ending. As she left Downing Street for the final time, she paused briefly before entering the waiting car. It was the end of a remarkable chapter in British history. Yet Margaret Thatcher's story did not end there. In the years that followed, she wrote books, delivered speeches, and remained a respected figure on the world stage. Historians continued debating her legacy. Economists analyzed her policies. Politicians studied her leadership style. Some viewed her as the leader who revived Britain's economy. Others believed her policies created unnecessary hardship. But regardless of opinion, one fact remained undeniable. Margaret Thatcher changed the course of British history. The little girl who once stacked groceries in her father's small shop had risen to become one of the most powerful women the world had ever seen. Her journey proved that determination can overcome humble beginnings, that courage can challenge tradition, and that one individual can leave a lasting mark on history. Even decades later, the name Margaret Thatcher continues to inspire admiration, debate, and fascination. And perhaps that is the true sign of an extraordinary leader, not that everyone agrees with them, but that their influence continues long after they are gone. The Iron Lady's story remains a reminder that greatness often begins in the most ordinary places.